when you break the bread, it multiplies. I found out that when I teach, when I train, I become better. I become sharper.
I think collaboration is very key. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go with people.
Do not let anything waste your time. If you prioritize where you find fulfillment, it will give you more energy. Purpose energizes you, especially when you're moving to the direction of purpose. You should be able to know when to move. You should know when to pivot. When this is not working, when this is slowly becoming a monument, you should know when to move.
Welcome everyone to Everyday Innovators podcast. In this podcast, we are exploring how ordinary people use technology to drive extraordinary changes. I'm your host, Frederick Damasus. And in this debut episode, we have an exceptional guest, someone close to my heart and a powerhouse of creativity. My brother David joins us today. David is an accomplished designer, is an illustrator, a cartoonist, who also runs his own business, a custom t-shirt brand business on the side. But David's passion extends beyond his work. He mentors nearly 600 creatives, sharing his expertise to help them perfect their craft. Today, dive into David's journey, his process, and how he balances his creativity with business and everything that he does. We explore the exciting evolution of design and illustration in this age of AI. So whether you're a designer, a tech enthusiast, I believe you will find David's insights very useful. So welcome everyone and join us in this inspiration journey with our very first Everyday Innovator. David, it's great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you. I really appreciate. I honor you as not just as my elder brother, but as someone who has really inspired me to be more. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So David, you wear many hats. You're a designer, illustrator, business owner, and all that. What first sparked your passion for the creative arts going into design?
Okay, I think it was me being privileged of being born into a family of creatives because like fast track from my grandparents, I had stories of my grandfather being a dancer. My dad was into sports. He's also very creative and my brother. So that environment, I would say that environment, which I was privileged to be born into, actually became a platform for, igniting my interest in creative arts, in technology and thereabout. Whatever I am doing now is actually from a standpoint, from a platform of, my immediate environment where I was born and the family I was born into. So that particular platform, was just wired into me. And I was just all about being creative, creativity, technology, because we loved playing video games even while we were young. So that particular environment is what helped, build my passion for creativity.
Awesome. So was there a specific moment that you knew that you wanted to pursue design as a professional career?
Yeah, I think it was in 2015, I started, fiddling with Photoshop, trying to help my home church back in River State then, to solve some problems when it has to do with, photos, editing photos, and just all around media, because I was around media from a very young age. So when I started learning the skill, it got to a point where I was just learning the skill to, everyone wants to have something to do to bring money, to bring income. But where I decided to, take this as a professional career was I looked at the results my brother then was having, and it really inspired me to say, oh, I can do this as a profession, because prior to me transiting into graphic design, I was actually doing, home improvement, home furnishing and finishing work. So I was already in that line of, artistic work, design, but it was on walls. So I was actually chasing that as a profession. I worked with 2 different factories, create manufacturing companies in the paint industry. But when I got into the design, like graphic design industry, I just said, okay, I can actually make something out of this. So that's the transition moment. That's the transition moment for me in turning graphic design as a career.
That's a beautiful story, and then about finding your passion and then following it up and making it a professional career path. It's something I can resonate with myself because I started as a trained engineer, although I didn't practice my engineering degree. So I always had that flair for design. Back then, we used to draw cartoons and creating comic strips and all that. It's not up to a certain level. So I was not chasing design as a career. It was more like a hobby. But until the moment came when I think a few people say, oh, you can really do this. Why not take it up as a career? I was also trained as a web developer at one time, but the need arose. I needed to design a platform that we were working on then. So with my design skills, I just, okay, instead of me following everyone to code, let me just be the one to design the platform while the other devs did develop the platform. So from there, just, okay, we'll take this up as a professional career. And then here we are, even though right now I'm transitioning from designing as a core career. But yeah, it's such a beautiful story, and it resonates with many as well, and how they find their passion for what they do right now. Talking about design, are there misconceptions that you maybe you've encountered often about design? And I think we need to bust some of those myths about design and brand design.
Yeah, I think one of the myths I really resonate with, like most times when I begin to like teach or train people, they have this feeling that you have to be artistic. You have to have like a background in arts to be able to, create, to be able to do design. But I think really needs to be clear why. While if you have a background in art, it can really help in design. But design is not just trying to make things, beautiful. That's also another misconception people have, that, oh, design is just about the aesthetics. No, it's beyond the aesthetics. It's both form and feel. Right. It has to be in form. It has to be functional. Now, as I started progressing as a graphic designer, I now moved from, okay, it's not just creating stuff that are aesthetically pleasing. It has to be functional. It has to work. It has to communicate, because a larger part of design is actually communication. And a lot of persons do not understand when you say, design is communication. Like, what do you mean design is communication? Because they are looking at design from an artistic standpoint. They want to just make awesome stuff that will make people go, wow. But that's not all what design it's all about. Then another misconceptions that I normally interface with is that if it takes lesser time, it should cost less. If it takes a lesser time to finish a particular design project, then it should cost less. Now, I don't know if you've encountered that, but I have encountered that, maybe solving a particular design problem within few minutes and turning it in, like, then why are you charging 300,000, 500,000, as the case may be, for something you just finish within a very short time? They don't know that it takes a whole lot. There's a whole lot of processes when it comes to design. Actually, it's not just the, take colors here. Like someone would say, I was working with a particular client that said, is it not just design? That's another misconception. Is it not just to push this picture, I can do this thing in Canva? I'm a very straightforward person. The moment you tell me I can do this, I'm ready to give you your money back. I know many persons say, that don't give. No, I actually operate that way. If you're giving me issues, I can tell you, okay, this is what I've done so far. Maybe I've done your job for like 30% out of 100. I'll say, okay, no problem. I'll cut out the money, send you part, say that's for the 70%. Let's walk away with this particular project. I can't, because I don't like stress. I don't like that stress at all. But the truth is, most persons have not been taught to really value design. Everything we see in the world today has to be designed, because most persons do not even understand what design is. They don't know what design is. And in layman's term, to me, design is actually being able to create, execute, and shape things, all right, through a process, through plan, something that is planned. So you can't just, most artistic work are not planned. You can't design, you can't create a design without a plan. There must be a plan. All right. So that bridge between being artistic and being a graphic designer, a lot of persons do not understand that. I would like to also hear your view when it comes to this area of being an artist and graphic. What do you think about that?
I think that's one misconception about design. Everything in the world is designed. So whatever you're doing, if it's a chair you're sitting on, someone designed this. So design is not just about the art. So art is different from design. Design serves a purpose. Like you rightly said, design communicates something. So sometimes when you look at the difference between art and design, art can be interpreted in different ways. But for something that is designed, it's serving a specific purpose, a specific function. So if it's digital design, so if you're designing a marketing material, you are trying to communicate a particular message. So you have a message in mind. It's not just art that anyone can interpret, can see from a different perspective and all that. So even though some people say design is subjective, but the designer knows the purpose, what he's trying to communicate. The end result is for him to pass that message through that particular design that he has developed. Okay, so technology today is reshaping everything, including design. How is it blurring the boundaries between branding as it is today and maybe immersive storytelling experiences?
Yeah, it's just like you said, immersive storytelling. A lot of technologies that are coming out there, especially around the regions of AR, VR, actually being used to tell, communicate to, clients, to audiences, and one thing it has helped to do is technology has really helped to crystallize a connection between target audiences. You see, like never before, there's this feeling people have, in connecting with big brands. Let's say, for example, Apple. A lot of persons are going crazy with Apple because they have actually used technology and innovations to really create a borderless relationship between them and their target audience and people who patronize their products. So I think as the year goes, we would see this particular, I would say, obsession with brands will become more stronger because it's like it's in our face, it's in our everyday life. It's in it's either you're using one flagship, one Samsung, one technology is actually it's like it's in our face, it's right on top of our nose. So it's bridging that relationship gap. Really, it's really bridging that relationship gap. In time past, there is this disconnect between brands and their users. All right, but right now with a lot of data, a lot of metadata growing out, brands can even tell what their users are doing right now, and it's actually helping. It has its good side. Technology always has its pros and its cons. So I think for the pro side, people now have this. There's this trust that has been built between the user and the brand. So I think it's really wonderful where we are heading in technological advancement so far.
That's true. The lines are really blurring. Seeing how technology opens up avenues for massive storytelling, and it's exciting. Just to ask, have you used maybe included some of these new technologies in the work you do today? Can you share an example of maybe how you use AI or AR, augmented reality, in some of the things you've done today?
Okay, I think one of the projects we worked on for one of our clients, we had to, collaborate with some people who already have a high level skill for augmented realities, where majority of the barcodes, when you scan it, it's like you are in this. If you have the VR headset, you can just, enter into their digital classroom from their website. So working on that particular project was good, but I haven't used some augmented reality programs to full extent. I think most of the technological advancements I have really utilized is in the area of artificial intelligence, AI. I've really used AI to help fast track my brand process, my research process. There's this AI platform I use normally. It's called Namelix. Let's say I want to brainstorm different names, because some clients, they don't have an idea, okay, what name they want to name their brand or anything, because I also provide that services to give them a name that actually fits the brand, not all these Ikechukwu and Sons stuff. That name itself cannot compete in global standards. So I actually use that platform. It's called Namelix. It's really helpful. You just, give a prompt, your industry, what you do, and the location. Then it suggests names for you. You can just pick. I also use some AI platforms that help in image processing, scaling up images, fine-tuning images, correcting some mistake. Maybe they are like one I did recently, we requested for a headshot from most of these clients. They ended up sending a passport photograph. So we needed to complete their shoulders, we needed to complete their thighs and all that. So if you're working manually, it's going to take a long time to recreate the missing parts on Photoshop. So I just went into Adobe Firefly and just, marked out some place, used the test prompt generator, and it came out really, really nice. So I've actually used those particular AI platforms. Like I use them day to day. I use them every single day in my workflow activities.
Awesome. So in this world today with AI image generators are like the thing today, and they keep developing and innovating. Some of the images that you get from these platforms are really amazing, illustration and all that. But what unique human touch do you think you'd bring to your design, especially in the age of AI? And what makes your creative voice irreplaceable? I think this is something that is in the back of the minds of many creatives. Will AI replace them and all that? So what will now make you as a creative stand out?
All right. Yeah. It's the concern really started in 2021, 2022 for me. So I began researching about AI because it's not just you being a creative space. Many persons said, "Oh, AI can't replace me." AI, but of a truth, many persons are being dropped off from their jobs. I was watching a video and I heard a particular guy. He said he had to drop so many of his editors. Why? Because there is an AI platform that helps him edit his videos and all that. Now, what I did was to, go over many AI platforms. It is a particular platform. There's an AI for that. That's the name of the website that has over 3,000 to 4,000 different AI platforms where you can just go and research. Now, the reason why I began to research, there's such a force of, there's this force, AI is going to replace me. I need to know what wants to replace me, like what ability the AI has for it to replace me. So when AI, now it's really great because I use these platforms a lot, especially in my work, but there is something that I found out during my research and while I was using AI. AI is data driven, right? So it relies so much on an existing data. So what it does is it combines from this data, that data to actually create, let's say it's an image, you want to create an artistic work. So it takes from the pool of resources that it has, right? The difference for me, the edge I have against that is that I have a soul, I have emotion, I have intuition. I can take a given set of data and interpret it in a different way more than the AI can do. Okay, now I mentioned inspiration. An AI is not inspired to create. An AI is prompted to create. So you have to prompt it, and it's based on your intelligence, right? It's garbage in, garbage out. It depends on the intelligence of the person who is prompting, right? There's something called prompt engineering. I had to take a course on prompt engineering, how to utilize good keywords to be able to create something good from the AI platform, because AI it's heavily dependent on you. So the thing is, it's better you learn how to use those platforms to fast track your work. But make sure you're sharpening your creative process. Make sure you know how to get inspired, because most times you get into this creative block. A lot of persons do not know how to, overcome creative blocks. They are delaying projects and all that. You should have a system. You should have a particular system that brings you into that flow state where you can create. I think inspiration, emotion, and intuitions are these things that sets my work apart from the work of an AI.
Awesome. I know you mentioned that you took courses, like a course on prompt engineering. So are there any specific design leaders or people that you follow that have influenced maybe your approach to maybe AI and new innovations in the design industry?
Yeah, I think top of my list is his name is Mesh. Yeah, I can't really pronounce his full name. He's an Indian guy. Now, why I follow these guys, because if in 2023 he's already researching AI platforms, tools, tips and tricks, maybe for Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and all that for the next year. So he's always in tune with design trends, what AI it can do, a whole lot of stuff. And I think on Mesh, then Seso Graphics, Satori Graphics, and I think I can't really call some names, but these guys actually, have helped me navigate the space, especially in recent times, because they have stayed relevant. Mesh has been a designer for a very long time, and he's also a speaker. And most times when the Adobe do their Adobe conferences and all that. So yeah, following him has really, has really made me to be on par with, new design trends, what is happening in the AI space with design, brand design, I took one of his course, how to implement AI in your brand design processes. And it was really good.
Talking about trends, I know social media today has transformed the way creatives connect with their audience. And how do you leverage social media technology in general to build a community around your work?
Okay, for mentoring, because I like you said, rightly said, I have a platform where I mentor over 600 plus, and not just the area of design, but creativity at large. So I utilize a platform called Telegram to, to host some of my meetings. Although I still use Google Workspace. I use the Google Meet to have meetings, to teach in lifetime, in real time. But I think one of the platforms I use heavily consistently is Telegram. Okay. Most, if you check, most social media platforms are now creating the ability to, have a community, WhatsApp and their WhatsApp community. Instagram has their Instagram community, to keep up with your people. But I use Telegram mostly because it's reliable for data. Majority of the data we have sent over time, over the 5-year period, I've been using it to coach and to teach. Majority of my data from 5 years are still there. So that's why I rely heavily on Telegram for communications. But for my team, I utilize Slack for internal communications between myself and my team. Although there are some other project management softwares out there, but we are not looking at that direction now. But yeah, Telegram, WhatsApp, and these other social media platforms that offer us the ability to build a community. Yeah, I utilize those platforms too.
Okay, talking about your community now. So what sparked your passion for mentoring young creatives?
Okay, what sparked my passion to mentor young creatives? And there are some creatives that are actually older than me, so I will not call them young creatives, and I have them too on my platform. But I think I'll count it a privilege to being a little bit exposed in the creative space, not just design. Because from childhood, from dancing to singing to rapping to creating instruments, so that's particular journey opened me up to a whole lot of information, a whole lot of knowledge and understanding. And I was also privileged while growing up to be around a lot of capacity building programs, that a lot of persons, spiritual leaders, thought leaders, we are creating. And I really loved being in that environment because it made me feel good. It made me have like a confidence in expressing the talent, the gifts, the creative ability that I have. And I wanted to have people come into that space also, because most times what we have is, there are paid platforms. No one is really mentoring people. When we talk about creative mentorship, it's not really a thing when it comes. Yeah, it's not really a thing, especially in Africa. It's in the rest of the world where you have mentors. Someone like Chris Du, who can mentor in creativity and also in business, right? But we don't really have it here. And one thing that also, solidified that seal to like coach, teach, and train people is because of my family, right? I came from a very awesome family where the knowledge that the first has, he shares, all right? And I really wanted to be that person who is also a source of knowledge for a lot of young people and the people who come around me. And one of my mentor said something. He said, when you break the bread, it multiplies. Now, I found out that when I teach, when I train, I become better. I become sharper. Because it makes me research, it makes me spend more time in watching videos, keeping up to trends and all that, to be able to, to teach, to coach, and to train people rightly. Yeah, so I think all these factors from my early background, my childhood, and growing up, meeting people and being mentored accurately by people actually instilled that desire to also mentor people, to reach out to people too.
It's amazing that you dedicate so much time in mentoring others, and a way of giving back, and also ensuring that those coming behind you also have at least the opportunity to get to where you have gotten to. But just to also follow up, how do you tailor your guidance to cater for, I believe, handling 600 people? That is a diverse set of group, people from different backgrounds and different characters, and how do you manage to help them find their creative voice and as you mentor them?
All right. So one of the strategies I use is because no matter how vast you are, you cannot be an expert in every given field, and these people need someone who is like an expert in that particular field to be able to provide at least to a degree accurate mentorship. Let's say in the area of writing, copywriting, that's not really my strong suit. So what I did was, okay, I have a pool of resources as friends, as people also in the creative space. So I do a lot of collaboration. I have a lot of friends in different niches who also mentor, who also serves as mentor in that platform. Okay, we also leverage on our free resources, free schools, opportunities, courses on Udemy and all that, to also provide like a wider source for knowledge and understanding for these people. Because the truth is, like you said, most persons are from different backgrounds, different cultures. So what we try to do is we try to be as plain as possible, as basic as possible, to be able to carry everyone along. And if we cannot reach that particular group accurately, we have someone who is able to speak to that particular group. We have in the first team, because the first team is comprised of different people from different parts of Nigeria. So we have people playing different roles. We have copywriters in first. We have designers. We have animators. We have developers also who help in reaching people from different niches and in different backgrounds. So that's one of the strategies that actually has really helped us to run this for the number of years which we have done, and reach out to the number of people which we have been reaching out to.
That's a good strategy. And I love how you collaborate with others. I think collaboration is very key. Like the saying, the popular saying, say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go with people. So collaboration is very key and for what you're doing. So looking at all the things you do currently, so you have a business, Frosties and Frostwork, coupled with the community, the mentorship program you run, as well as your full-time job. How are you able to manage all these? How they are able to run everything, put everything together? Because juggling creative business with a full-time job can be very tricky. So what time management secrets do you have for maintaining your sanity and thriving as an entrepreneur?
All right. One of the strategies is also like I mentioned, collaboration. You need to know how to designate responsibilities to people, because you can't be everywhere doing, everything by yourself at the same time. So you need someone who has at least a level of knowledge and understanding in that particular area to be able to help, to be able to provide support. So what really helps me is collaboration. In recent times, I've not been able to, collaborate as in, the first team as we used to. I moved recently to another city, so it's been me running most of the majority of the stuff, but it's collaboration since we are in the digital age, technological age. Uh, uh, um, Someone who is in River State is almost close to home, because you can have meetings, you can share assets, you can share files. So most times I'm working on a particular project and I see that, oh, this project is draining me and someone is demanding for my services from left, right. What I do is, okay, if I know I'm not going to meet up to this particular task, I have junior designers, I have people who have trained in design who are really good, who I just, designate that particular task to, and I just oversee it. All I just do is, okay, change this, add this here, add this there, and they're able to deliver on time. We're able to manage our time because we have people.
I think another thing is being a creative myself, and even in general, most people in the tech space, we sometimes, with the advent of remote work and all that, we struggle with work-life balance. What are some of the ways you prioritize your I know you've mentioned collaboration, you prioritize your well-being despite your demanding schedule? Because sometimes if we're not careful, we're working late into the night and we have a lot to deliver on. And so how do you find a way? What advice maybe you would give to others in the tech space to ensure that they are also prioritizing their well-being?
Okay. I think one of the things I do is I'm very strict on timing. Yeah, I'm very, very strict on timing. And I made this known, like I made this known with where I work, the places I work. I'm very strict on timing. If it's 9 to 5, once it's 5, don't call me. I'm not picking up your call. So that's what I do. I manage my time very much because I know, okay, if I'm working from 9 o'clock in the morning or 10, as the case may be, most times my work, like my professional work life, that's not my business, let me call it my 9 to 5, though I work fully remote, starts from most times 11, right? So I know that, okay, I have some hours to, take care of myself in exercising. I exercise every morning, because you need to keep your blood flowing. You need to exercise. You really need to exercise. So that's what I do every morning. I'm a spiritual person. So that morning, it's a time for me to meditate, to pray, to engage in my spiritual activities and also exercise. And I know my work starts from 11. Now, when my work ends by 5, 6, I make sure. So my advice to creatives out there who are working for a company, make sure you have a personal contact and you have a professional contact. So when it's time to go off, make sure you are going off so you can pay attention to other stuffs. Like I'm running a business on the side, right? And I'm doing 9 to 5. Immediately I switch from my work. I'm putting on another work too. I'm switching to the personal business. So I know that, okay, I have 24 hours within a day. I designate my day. I break it into 3 parts. Into the morning, the afternoon, the evening, what I'm going to do within that particular day. I make sure I try as much as I can, even if I'm overwhelmed with work. If I do not rest within a day, I make sure I carve out a day in the week, maybe the weekend or maybe Saturday or Sunday to rest, to be able to, re-energize myself from the much work activities that has come within the day. So if you prioritize where you find fulfillment, it will give you more energy to, purpose energizes you, especially when you're moving to the direction of purpose. It energizes you to go more, to be more, especially when you're impacting, you're living a life of impact and all that. So I think the things that a creative out there should do is, find a particular balance in what keeps you inspired, keeps you fresh. Find something that, when you're doing it, it gives you a sense of purpose. You're impacting the world. Then also be strict in your time management. Be very, very strict in your time management. Do not let anything waste your time. I think putting this together, you'll be able to at least to a level balance yourself and balance your life.
I know some of your answers would resonate more with people who have side business, personal projects they're also working on. So for those that are maybe more strictly 9 to 5, what advice would you give them, especially when it comes to work and life balance?
All right. I feel, there's this, I'm just going to put it out there. There's this misconception people have that, okay, people who work remotely, they are enjoying, they are just, a friend of mine said they are holding remotes in their hands since they're working remotely and just, changing the television channel. But it takes a whole lot of discipline to be able to work remotely and be effective. All right. It takes a whole lot of discipline. So I feel it's not like I'm trying to spite anybody, but people who work 9 to 5 strictly, who go to the office and come back, I feel they have a better chance to, to be more, to balance their life more than people who work remotely, because people who work remotely tend to be workaholics. They work deep late into the night. They are taking on projects. They just feel that, since they are home, they can take up multiple stuff. Well, my advice to those who work strictly 9 to 5 is also time. Make sure you are strict with your time, because if you're in Lagos, that is a very busy city. I remember when I was doing the normal 9 to 5 where I'm on transit, most times you're locked in traffic for like 2 hours, 1 hour, and as the case may be. So what I do is I read. Most times when I'm stuck in traffic, I bring out my phone and I begin to read, because you need to make up for your time. You need to have like routines, you need to have habits that can help you compress time. So most times when I'm stuck in Lagos traffic, what I'm doing is I'm reading a book on my phone, right? Then also have time to exercise. The thing is just to have a balance for your time. You have 24 hours. When you're strict with your time, you're able to, to carve out some there's something when I teach people time management, I say identify time wasters, identify stuffs that waste your time and begin to cut them off. You will redeem a whole lot of time within that 24 hours time cycle that everybody has within a day. And when you do that, you can now allocate the excess time which you have in, maybe for your health, for learning, and all that. So it's really just, being strict on your time.
Thanks for the insights that you shared. So speaking to your creative work and business as a creative, how do you navigate? I think every creative somehow or sometime have experienced this, where there is a clash or disconnect between a client, a request, and maybe their own creative direction and all that. So how do you navigate a situation where a client's vision, it clashes with your own vision as well, your creative vision?
All right. It happens a lot. I think one of the things that has helped me and can help a lot of people is having a process, right? Is having an onboarding process. If you're onboarding a particular client, you should have a process. You should tell them, okay, this is how I work. Not everybody is your client, and it has really helped me. Not everybody should be your client. Not everybody's work you should take. You're not for everybody. Everybody's not for you. So what I did in recent time is to have a workflow process. Okay, this is my rate. Now it's not just about the rate. This is how I work. These are my values. Okay, this is how I approach design. I won't go on to, we talked about the misconception about brand design, and, some persons, they want to inject everything they do. Okay. Like, let's say I'm trying to build a brand and the brand is hairdressing. So I want all the elements for hairdressing. I want the scissors. I want these to be in the logo. What I do is I make sure I educate. So I have a whole lot of communication between me and my clients. I don't just, okay, this is my charges, this is my rate, let's begin the work. No, I have a lot of communication, in the discovery call. We talk a lot so that I get to understand you, you get to understand me, you get to know my values, I get to know your values before we begin to work, because it helps cut a whole lot of, conflict of ideas, conflict of needs, conflict of wants, because they have this notion that says the customer is always right. But I do not fully agree, because I have a very different perspective in my approach to business and life, and it has been helping me. My personal philosophy is they are right to a particular degree. If they came to me because they know that I'm a professional, all right, I know this and I can deliver. So first, I'm going to give you my professional advice. If you decline my professional advice and you say, okay, I don't want it this way, no problem. I can stick to what you're doing, but definitely your work will never be on my portfolio. Never be on my portfolio.
That's true. So I think, like you rightly stated, it's important, and I think it's very key to have conversations, communications, so that you guys can come to an agreement. Um, so looking at the future with technology and the different advancements. So let's say now you're looking into a crystal ball. What exciting trends emerging at the intersection of design, business, and technology that creatives coming up should watch out for?
Okay, I think right now we are actually going big on motion. We're actually going big on, the era of static designs is fading out. It's gradually it's gradually fading out. So I think creatives, especially in the design space, should look at ways to integrate, subtle animations to their design. I worked on a particular project, and what really wowed that particular client of mine was when most of the flyer designs for their socials, I incorporated motion to it, making all those little elements in the background come alive. It creates this immersive feel. So I think creatives in the design space should really look out for motion, subtle motion, graphics, and animation in their work process. It's going to be big because we are spiraling towards this VR and augmented reality and all that. It has to do a whole lot. There's a whole lot of motion going in there. So I think designers should be paying attention towards a particular direction.
Awesome. So do you think these trends will maybe present more opportunities? I know there are motion designers and all, but for other brand designers and who work more or less static, do you think it presents more opportunities or challenges for creators?
Yeah, when opportunities arise, most times there's this saying in Nigeria that another man's food is another man's poison, and most times with opportunities coming out, it's like the roadblock for others. But I think it's a call to innovate. It's a call to not just be a monument. Is to move. All right, it's a call to move. So you can, I think designers who are static designers, if I'm going to use that phrase, should learn to collaborate with people who are motion designers if they are not skilled in that particular area. You can also take on most of those jobs, but you collaborate with motion designers where you just send in your assets to them and they do. I think it will make the entire workflow and the work process faster. Right. So that's what I think in that area. So yes, it's going to create a whole lot of opportunities for motion designers, but static designers can also leverage on that because most static designers are it's difficult to see a motion designer who is 100 who is very good in I'm not saying they are not there, they are there, who are very good in also static design, because you need a degree of knowledge in static design before you're able to create motion designs. But I think the gap, what will bridge the gap is actually collaboration between static designers and motion designers.
Awesome. So what advice will you have for looking at everything that is going on, AI, VR? I think the Apple Vision Pro would be released, if not in a couple of days. I know people are already pre-ordering and all that. What advice would you give to young creatives who might feel overwhelmed with the rapid pace of innovation in the design field, especially with image generators and the likes?
Right. So one of the things that helped me was an advice I got from one of the podcasts I was seeing from Chris Du. He mentioned something, not being emotionally attached to your job. Your job, there is innovation can take over your job, and you should be able to move. So my advice to young creatives, even people like myself, is not to be emotionally attached to your skill. All right, designers are really, really emotional people, especially when you criticize their work and all that. But I think when you grow to a point where, okay, you're also logical as you are, you are emotional as you reason, you should be able to know when to move. You should know when to pivot. When this is not working, when this is slowly becoming a monument, you should know when to move. So I would say, know what is going on in the AI space, know what is happening, know what is trending, and leverage. So go big on leveraging on technological advancement. know how to use the ChatGPT, know how to use the BARD system, know how to integrate them to your workflow. Have a workaround around these tools. They are there to help you. They are not there to shut you down. Right? They will only shut you down when you're not advancing, when you're not reading, when you're not researching, and when you're not moving as a creative. That's when they'll be able to shut you down. So my advice is, research, understand the trend, understand the flow, and you'll be able to create. You can even create your own trend, as the case may be.
Thank you so much for the advice and the insights. I think it will go a long way for creatives and everyone that AI might innovate in their own industry as well. So before we wrap up, just where can we people connect with you and learn more from your journey? So for those interested in joining your community, where can they follow up with your work and the things you do?
Okay, for the Frost Creative Academy, you can just search Frost Creative Academy on Telegram. That's if you're on Telegram. You'll be able to just, it's an open platform. Okay, there's no charges, no subscription, the process is just get the link, click on the links. But some of the programs which we run, we have a National Creative Summit that runs twice every year, right? So if you want to be part of that particular program, you have to register. When the links are up, you have to, fill the forms, because majority of the sections are sent directly to the mails. So you just have to register. We are easily accessible. If you can search us on Frostworks NG, all right? When you on Telegram or on Instagram, on Facebook, Frostworks NG. Connect with us, send a message. Someone is available to respond to you. If you need anything, for my personal handle is the Frost King, not THE, but just the letter D, Frost King on Instagram, on TikTok, other platforms. So you can just search by my name, David Damasus, and I'm going to pop up across different social media platforms.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights. I'll link David's social media profiles in the description and show notes. Please connect with him and explore his work further. Thank you so much, David. And thank you for being our very first Everyday Innovator. We hope to have you join us in other episodes where we further explore technology, business, and design. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.